Hey, it's the We've Been Drinking MMA podcast. In this video, we are talking about the Almeida Lewis fight. This particular part of the podcast is the Diakiese Fernandes. I'm going Diakiese.
Yep, that's lousy. This is backhand. I'm also going with Marc Diakiese. He's minus 150, $150 to profit 100.
In fact, that's probably pretty good odds, actually.
I like those odds. I mean, listen, we want to talk about, how we're going to bet it. I think it's Diakiese straight up in this fight.
Money line with those odds?
Yeah, minus 150 for a guy who, how many years, bro, has Marc Diakiese been in the UFC? I mean, honestly, he's been back since 2016, so 7-8 years with the company. And he is 7-7 in the UFC. However, he's fought good fighters pretty much his whole career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's got wins over Joe Duffy, Lando Venata, who's, a guy who dropped Tony Ferguson when Tony Ferguson was in his prime, right? So we're talking about all that back when they were good, 4 or 5 years ago. And if you look at it, he is 2-2 in the UFC in his last 4 fights. But then you look at Kaue Fernandes, this is his first fight in the UFC.
First fight in general.
So, and he's 2-1 in his last 3, but this is his first fight in the UFC. He's gotten 2 first-round finishes, and like we said, so he's 2-1 in his last 3. He's 8-1 overall record, But ultimately, you look at Marc Diakiese. He's really he's got a good arsenal, and he's turned into a wrestler, and so
he used to be a headhunter.
Yeah, and he's got a good arsenal, whereas Kaue Fernandes, not so much on the arsenal. He's more of a guy who is a good leg kicker. Kind of hesitant with his punches, not good enough
at the pocket too. So.
He's got a good record, but overall, yeah, it's like he's one of those guys where he doesn't throw enough punches to beat a veteran like Marc Diakiese, in our opinion.
Yeah.
And ultimately, we'll explain the 2 losses by Diakiese. I mean, he's lost in his last fight versus Joel Alvarez, but Alvarez is 5-2 in the UFC, and Alvarez on top of that, has finished every fighter. He finished Thiago Moises, who's top 15, and his only losses are against ranked fighters. Damir Azmagulov, which is his first fight in the UFC, and then Arman Saryukin, who is obviously top 5, top 7.
He's probably going to fight for the belt pretty soon.
Oh, yeah, he can fight any wrestler who, and right now Makhachev is the champion, and we know that Saryukin went the distance with him and can grapple with Makhachev, which was what you need to do to fight a guy like that. So we're talking about Marc Diakiese, how he lost to Alvarez in his last fight, but Alvarez is got, Alvarez has only lost to the top tier in the UFC, and so you can excuse that loss. And then his second loss, which is 2 fights ago, he lost to Michael Johnson, who's perennial top 15.
He's always been
I mean, the guy
another gatekeeper.
A lot of people say he's the first guy who actually punched Khabib, right? And Khabib, shook it off, but it was it was legit, and people would talk about it. Khabib, the GOAT,
of all time.
Other than John Jones, it's him and Khabib literally never bled, never got a scratch, and he got actually hit by Michael Johnson with an overhand.
He made him bleed his own blood.
So we're saying we can excuse the last 2 losses because, again, it's Joel Alvarez, who's 5-2 and only lost a top tier competition in the UFC. Michael Johnson is second to last loss, which was top 15 fighter, perennial top 15, great fighter. And then he's got the other 2 fights are wins, right? So you look at it and it's like, okay, now you can understand the losses. Now we got to talk about the arsenal. Right, Marc Diakiese can not only can he leg kick as fast, and I would say just a little bit faster and harder than Kaue Fernandes, his current opponent, but Marc Diakiese can front kick you to the body.
Yeah,
he can wrestle. I mean, really fast wrestling.
I mean, double leg you, not body lock and strong arm you to the ground, take both your legs, lift you up, and to put you on the ground.
None of that hold on for dear life and to drag you down crap. It's literally a guy who can double leg you with his speed in the open
style.
Yeah, he can rush you against the cage, sure, but he can open space, take you down. And then, of course, his punches and his combinations, he can load up, but a lot of times he's just kind of leaps in with a nice straight punch, like a hooking punch even, and he uses the length of his punch. And in this fight, it's important because he's got a 73-inch reach, which is really good length for the lightweight, considering there's a lot of great fighters out of this weight class who are at 71, 70, 72. Khabib, again, Nurmagomedov was 70-inch reach, Alvarez 70-inch reach. So this guy is long for the weight class.
Yes.
He's got experience because he's been around for 7 years. You can explain his last 2 losses and realize that he only lost against really, really good fighters. And the other guy just doesn't have the arsenal. He's more of a leg kicker. And the leg kicks, but then his punches are too hesitant, I would say.
Yeah, right in the pocket. He just sits and waits.
Right. So numbers wise,
he's trying to
power
knock
wise,
people out with the one punch.
Yeah.
Like we watched his last fight where he knocked who was it? Hugo.
Yeah.
I believe Hugo was his last name.
right?
And he stood in weight. The guy was about to like leg kick, I believe,
Mhm.
and he just like overhand left him. And that's not gonna work with Diakiese.
Right.
Like a one punch like overhand, it's not gonna surprise him.
No.
Um,
Especially because Marc Diakiese is faster than Fernandez,
Yes.
and also Diakiese keeps distance better than Fernandez.
yes, very much so.
Also, we saw Fernandez in one of the fights. He got taken down and submitted, and again Diakiese. So Fernandez is susceptible to the takedown. We know that Marc Diakiese, the favorite in this fight, is a guy who is now turning into having a full arsenal where he likes to go for takedown. So he can win this fight in any way, on the feet, on the ground, whatever he wants.
Yeah, whatever he wants to do.
Submission, TKO.
Is especially with this guy being his first fight, he might have a little bit of jitters, and
That too.
Diakiese is probably going to take advantage
Dude,
of that.
Diakiese's so experienced. Again, he's fought really great fights. He's fought like Fiziev, went the distance with Fiziev, who's a monster, right? Who's a guy.
Hawkparast.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's fought some really great fighters for 7 years. So yeah, listen, Marc Diakiese minus 150, $150 to profit
That's good
100.
value.
I think it's really good value. We love the price. Appreciate the listening. Thank you so much also for last event, all the support.
Yeah, all the support. That meant so much, guys. Thank you for saying such kind words for us.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Please like, subscribe, and comment for that YouTube algo.
Thanks, everybody.